Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to another episode of Manifesting Muslimah. I'm your host, Zara Pedersen, and today we're going to talk about it being your time. We're going to talk about the fact that Allah wants to bless you, why Allah wants to bless you, why you should start dreaming bigger, why the thing that you're asking for is going to come. And yeah, just kind of really delving into this whole subject because there's so many things that I'd like to say on this subject. So inshallah, Allah will help me get my thoughts straight so that I can share all of it with you, and inshallah so that you can pick up what it is that you need exactly from this episode and pray bigger, dream bigger, make bigger goals, declare bigger things, so on and so forth. So since setting up Manifesting Muslimah, quite a few of you have reached out. I've kind of lost track of how many at this point, but I've also been doing this now for, oh my God, we're almost coming up to a year. I think I started in September or October. So, you know, we're coming closer now, girls. We're coming closer to a year. I can't believe it. It's gone so quick. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. But since I've set up Manifesting Muslimah, one of the biggest things that I see people struggle with is the feeling of being worthy of receiving the blessing, feeling worthy of receiving more when they already have something, or questioning whether or not Allah even wants to give them something to begin with. I've spoken in the past before about feeling guilt or shame, and this is not necessarily about feeling guilt or shame. This is about actually what it comes down to is your feelings of your worth. Like, what do you believe you are worth? That is essentially what it comes down to. Because I'm going to do the one thing that I like to do here, and I'm going to generalize quite a bit here and say that specifically within Muslim cultures, there's been a long history of kind of raising daughters specifically in a way where they have to undervalue themselves. And let me explain what I mean. So the daughter in a lot of households, and again, listen, I'm generalizing here. So if this isn't you and this isn't the family you came from, no, don't hate the game. Like, a lot of us have been in this situation. So if you don't recognize it, doesn't mean it's not true. So I'm speaking to those of you who can recognize it right now, okay? And if you can't recognize it, don't worry. We'll get back into the rest of it in a minute, okay? So hang in there. But quite a lot of us were raised in a culture or traditions or in a way within our Muslim families where there was more placement on the value of the husband and the children that we were going to have than us being just us alone. Did I explain that correctly? Let me try again. So, your mum or your dad or the society that you live in, it feels like they're placing more value on you if you marry well, meaning your value comes directly as a side product of how valuable your husband is, and or your future children or the children that you already have. Meaning we hear a lot of conversations, and listen, you know what I said, a lot of Muslim communities. I actually also know that this happens outside of Muslim communities in Southeast Asian communities. I know that also happens quite a bit there, and that's not necessarily Muslim. So that, like, a lot of culture and tradition, because once upon a time, long ago, a woman couldn't work, she didn't have any rights in society and whatever, and so her value really was placed upon the husband that she married. But that's not the world we're living in today. But the way of raising girls, young girls in certain communities in that way has not changed. It hasn't followed the times. So quite often we will find young girls, young women, older women still struggling with their feelings of worth, because from a very young age, we have been told that our value lies in marriage. Our value is in being a wife and being a mother. And now, okay, I understand that your parents might not have said that to you verbatim. They might not have been like, listen, dear child, daughter of mine, princess, actually, you're not so worthy unless you're getting married. Of course, they're not going to say that, but it's almost like it's a subliminal messaging that you're getting from all the questions of, when are you getting married? Have you met somebody yet? Do you want to, like, Are you going to study or are you going to get married? Oh, you've got your studies now, so you must have to get married now. Like there's always that, the question of marriage kind of follows really, really quickly. And that is kind of like a subliminal message that until you get married, we're actually kind of not interested in you as a person. Yeah. Like we'll ask how's studying going and stuff, but we will always finish it with the ultimate question, the ultimate thing that we want to get answers to, which is when are you going to get married and have children? Okay. Listen, again, as always, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. If you completely disagree with me or if you completely agree with me, at Manifesting Muslima over on Instagram, let's have this conversation. I find it so interesting. This is my personal experience, and it is my personal experience as a coach. I don't think I've actually worked with a single woman yet who doesn't recognize this pattern. And every single woman that I have worked with also happens to struggle with her feelings of worthiness and understanding her value as an individual, as a woman, as a single person. Okay. And that to me is actually quite shocking. But then again, at the same time, it isn't, because I understand where it's coming from. And personally, I have lived it myself. And I'm also, this is one of the things that I'm constantly working on in my own world, in my mindset, and journaling on and asking Allah for clarity on, and all of these things. So this is something that quite a few of us have struggled with or are struggling with or have to work on in the future, okay? So if we take it from that perspective of, well, this is something that has sort of been ingrained within us since being very, very young, then how does it apply to us today? Well, it applies in different ways. It manifests itself today in a lot of different ways. For instance, it could be that a part of you still don't think you're worthy or valuable unless you're married. So if you're a single woman right now listening to this podcast episode, there may be a part of you right now that questions your worth as a person, as a woman, as Allah's servant, because you're not married, or whether or not you're pleasing your parents, the society, your friends, whatever, because you're not married and you don't have kids yet. Yet or not ever. I don't know. It's not up to me to say. I don't even know if you want to get married and have children. I personally would like to get married again, but I don't want to have children. Do I want to get married again? I can't believe I just said that on a podcast. We are not erasing it. That came from somewhere that I don't even know, so it must be the truth. It came from the depths of the truth of who I am. But anyway, so I can't speak on whether or not you want to get married or if you want to have children. So regardless of whether or not you're thinking, yeah, I'd like to get married one day, or you're thinking, I'm actually really happy being alone, the whole point and purpose of it is that it can feel sometimes like even the thought of wanting to be single or not having found the partner yet, and it's going to take some time or whatever, can feel like you're being a bit of a disappointment, that you don't have that value yet because you don't have the husband and the children, right? And listen, again, feel free to disagree with me, write me over on Instagram and we can have this conversation. But I really believe that a lot of it stems from there, because I can see that a lot of it for myself comes from there as well. And so it manifests itself as those feelings of unworthiness in our young adult life and 30 adult life and 40s adult life and 50s adult life, in that it also kind of spreads. Because if we have kind of been told that the only thing that'll make us valuable and worthy is a husband and children, everything else can, like, it's not that it doesn't matter, but it's not as important, then it can also limit our ability to dream, our ability to want more for ourselves, because a part of us still thinks that it doesn't really matter, nobody's interested, because what they are ultimately interested in is our potential husbands. And so what that means is, and listen, again, if it's not you, that's totally fine. But if it is you, you'll recognize this as well. For some of us, we've been raised with this idea like, no, it's good for you to have an education, but I don't really care about your education and your job. Are you married yet? Like, it's not as interesting news in a lot of ways. Of course, not to say that your parents are not proud of you. Don't rewrite the words in my mouth. It's not that your parents aren't celebrating your masters and your new job and whatever, but it's almost like the sentence has not finished yet. So even though you're doing these things, it feels almost like, there's still something hasn't been finished yet, and there's a bit of a pressure coming from the outside, either that is from family or family, friends, culture, society, And that is hanging still, meaning that it can leave us feeling like it's not enough. So we're still not valuable enough, having studied and getting a job and being independent. We still need more in order for us to be fully accepted and valuable, which is the husband and children aspect, okay? So when we have this little thing and this kind of history and this kind of teachings subliminally injected into our brains from a very young age, it really can stunt our ability to value ourselves properly in many ways. Number one, in the dating scene, let's just be so for real right now. I see way too many of you beautiful, talented, incredibly intelligent, independent women willing to sacrifice a lot for a Muslim fuckboy. I'ma say it the way it is. A Muslim fuckboy. Just because it matters more that you're married than that you're married well. Because again, it's in some place that's the way it feels. It doesn't even matter if I'm married well as long as I'm married. And that makes me sad. You're undervaluing yourself. You're worth so much more than that. You're worth a great marriage. You're worth a beautiful relationship. You're worth having a partner that values you beyond what you even value yourself, but you already value yourself so highly that it's like, wow, this boy really loves me, right? But another way that it also limits us outside of the dating scene is our ability to dream and want things for ourselves, because we, again, kind of subliminally have been told it doesn't matter. Nobody really cares. Nobody really cares. And also, on another note, a lot of us might also have been raised with this notion of like, but your whole purpose is to be a wife and a mother. And that whole notion, again, from years and years of history and the way that things once upon a time were, means that you're the person who has to sacrifice everything for everyone else. So your needs come in last in a lot of ways, because it doesn't really matter about you. You're the wife, you're the mother, you're the woman in the household, which means you have to be willing to sacrifice everything. Sacrifice for your husband so he can work a lot and be good and make money and support you. Sacrifice for your children so that they may have a beautiful future. Sacrifice for your in-laws. Sacrifice for your elderly parents. Sacrifice for your siblings, and then all the strangers on top of that. And ultimately, you're starting to pour from an empty cup from yourself. And again, even something like that will make us feel less worthy, because we're placing the worth of others higher than our own value and worth. And again, that stunts us so much when it comes to us even daring to dream for better for ourselves. And the way that has an impact on you when you then decide, oh, I really want to try this law of attraction thing, or I really want to try and better my life in whatever way, means that even when I ask, for instance, oh, what would you really like? I see so many of you dreaming small, not aiming high enough. And I can see that you're almost limiting yourself. You're almost excusing yourself. This is the worst thing. I'm sorry, like not to call you out, because I've seen myself do it as well. So like, it's not like that, but I'm going to call you out as well on this, which is you're making excuses for your dreams. You're making excuses, and you're almost playing it off like, I'm not really that serious. Oh, I'm just kidding. Like, I don't really want to be an influencer, but like, no, I really want to be an influencer. Like not owning it. You're not owning your dream. You're not owning what it is that you truly want. You're excusing it because you dreaming almost sounds ridiculous to you at this point, because who are you to dream? Like, really, you're not worthy of that. Really, who do you think you are? Your husband might be able to do that. Your children could, unless she's a daughter. And then, of course, she has to be primed for marriage. No, I'm just joking. Please don't do that. Please, your children are valuable. Even the women. Sounded so wrong, but you know what I mean. Listen, if you're going to come for me because I fumble my words on that, shame on you. Okay, yeah. So anyway, the point is that I see so many of you either not daring to dream, or when you then finally say what it is that you want, you're excusing yourself. You're like making excuses as to why that's silly of you to even think to want that, or, no, that's never going to happen, but I'll be so happy even if I don't get that. No, stop yourself. Dream. I mean, and listen to this. This is what I want. Well, if you're that person, I know a lot of you feel called out on this, because I can feel it. I can feel your energy right now, girl. Like, you're feeling called out, and that's good. Listen to what I'm about to say. It's a dream. It is a literal dream. If you can't even dream about it without feeling unworthy, girl, you and I, we need to have a conversation. Like, I need to inject some of that worth and value and self-confidence into your veins, okay? Because you are so worthy and so deserving. So let's talk a little bit about then, if you're that kind of person, or for whatever reason you just don't feel worthy of asking for the things. I mean, there's definitely also this sort of like the more spiritual placement of feeling unworthy, like, oh, well, I didn't start wearing the hijab until this time, or maybe I had sex outside of marriage, or I reverted, so I have a whole history of things that I have to repent for before I can ask Allah for more, or, I don't know, whatever reason where you're like spiritually feeling like you have to give something in order to get something back from Allah in a lot of ways. That's also a form of feeling very unworthy. And again, that can also come from, your childhood, and this feeling of unworthiness, that it's not enough that you just are, you have to perform. What is it? To be a woman is to perform, or something to that effect. There's a quote in that, like, I know that's for something completely different, but it just kind of like came into my mind as I just said that, and I feel like it still also somehow applies here, because as a girl you have to perform to show that, oh, I'm gonna study hard, and I'm gonna be a good Muslim girl, and then I'm gonna, continue my studies, and then I'm gonna get married, and I'm gonna have children. Like, there's this performance element still, even as young children, that like I can take care of the house if my mum is ill, or whatever. I can't remember where I was going with that. I'll have to be completely honest. My brain just kind of took me on a little bit of a loop, and here we are. But either way, it's just to say that that it can come from a lot of different places, even if it's like that spiritual disalignment with feeling worthy of asking Allah for more, or even to dare dream of more. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what we're going to do about that, because girl, we are not doing that. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. We are worthy. Okay, we are worthy. And I'm going to start off so strong, sis. So, clench those butt cheeks and do what you need to do to get yourself ready. Okay. Clench hard. Okay. You are worthy simply because you are. What? Yeah, that is it. I feel like there should have been applause or something, like a big wah. There wasn't. It's okay. It's totally fine. You're worthy simply because you are. And you know what makes you worthy? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees worth in you. That is why he has created you. That is why above creating you, he has chosen for you to be a Muslim, to be one of his servants. And that, my darling, take that in for a minute. I'm gonna just shut up right now and let that. You are worthy because Allah has created you, and he has chosen for you to serve him. And I'm gonna just shush so you can sit with that for a minute. I'm still here, but I'm just letting you sit with it. Because personally, what more could you want in this dunya? First of all, like, that is the most beautiful thing that you could ever have been given, is the gift to be a Muslim. Not everybody gets that. We know this because we live in the dunya. We see people who are not Muslim and who make fun of God and Islam and all sorts of things. And we also see people who are just being misguided and, don't know better, because they just cannot, for whatever reason, open up their minds to it. And the reason might just be because Allah has closed their hearts off to it. And then we know it because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran that, not everybody is Muslim, and some people we're just going to shun them. No, not you. No, we don't want you. You're not part of the club, And so what a beautiful privilege it is to be chosen by the One, by the Almighty, by the Magnificent, by the ultimate creator of the cosmos. And you don't feel worthy to even ask for simple things in this dunya. Sorry, I'm laughing, but sometimes it just, even to me, sounds a little funny. Because as I said, I still sometimes will kind of struggle with the same things. I'm only human. Like, yeah, okay, I'm sitting here and I'm teaching you it and I'm reminding you of the things and whatever. But like, I still fall into the same traps from time to time, and I have to remind myself of it too. Simply because you're worthy, simply because you are. That is it. You don't need more. And the next thing I want to say to you, continuing on, I would say rather strong here, you're worthy of the blessings because Allah has promised them to you. You are worthy because Allah has promised the blessings to you. He has promised you an answer to your du'as. So what are you saying? Are you the exception to the rule? Are you that special? Are you that unique? Is that what you want? You want to be like, but then Allah didn't mention me in the Quran. However, I'm like this one unicorn that Allah never spoke of in the Quran. So when he says, you know, call upon me and he'll answer when you call upon him, I just completely butchered that quote. What is it? Call upon me, I am near you and I will answer. I can't remember. Oh my God. I'm sorry. It's past 10 in the evening as I'm recording this. My brain is turning into a little bit of mush now. Yeah, no, we're not having this. So I just had to stop recording there for a second and I had to look it up. Call upon me and I will respond to you. I almost had it. My brain went into like, it just stopped working there for a second and it was like, no, I'm not going to help you. Figure it out on your own. So I just kind of had to go online and I had to go online and find the answer. That is embarrassing, I know. But either way, one thing that I like to say is in the Quran, he says, call upon me, I will respond to you. And then he continues to say, surely those who are too proud to worship me will enter hell fully humbled. He doesn't, sorry, I make myself laugh. He doesn't say, call upon me, I will respond to you. But not you, Khadija, from Essex. I don't know. He doesn't say, not Zainab from Denmark or whatever. Like he's not saying, but except you. There are no sort of like little hangnails on that little promise. It is just call upon me and I will respond to you. And if there were areas in which he was like, but accept this and that and these people and those who do this, but he doesn't say that, meaning it is open to everyone. It is open to everyone, you know. And it's even to the point where I believe like even like somebody who's a disbeliever could probably call on Allah and Allah would probably still respond because he is most gracious, most kind, most forgiving, right? So but not you, of course, sis. But that doesn't include you. You are that special. I sound like such a turd. I'm so sorry. But do you see the ludicrousness in that kind of thinking? Do you see how absolutely ludicrous it is to think that Allah is so willing and compassionate to give and wanting to give to everyone and forgive and bless everybody else, but not you? You're not. You're the only one who's not worthy. You're the only one who doesn't deserve it. And that to me, again, really reaffirms how important it is for us to place our value, our personal individual value, not based upon what everybody else thinks of us, but how Allah sees us and how Allah loves us and how Allah shows us mercy and grants us the things and the way that he is constantly promising to be there for us and constantly promises to respond to us. Whether it is that, you know, we're coming and asking for patience in a situation, for some, I don't know, just a little bit of ease when you're going through some hardship, or if you're asking for a new Bentley. I know that was a big jump, but I just kind of had to go there. I couldn't think of anything else. A new Bentley, a new job, a new husband, whatever it might be, a new husband. All right, get rid of the old one. Why not? What is this mood she's in? Should I record more in the evenings? Is this fun for you? Or is this like really annoying? Because I don't know. I'm not sure if it's a vibe or if I should just be like, Zara, that was a one-off. That was a one-off. Don't do that again. I don't know. You let me know. At Manifesting Muslima over on Instagram. But those are like the two main reasons for me that I'm like, girl, sis, my darling, habibti, listen, if those two things, you are worthy simply because you are, and that Allah has chosen you to be his servant, and because Allah has made those promises to us. Allah is the only one who doesn't break a promise. We break promises to ourselves all the time. Even our mums and dads break promises to us. I was going to say, what loves you more than a mum and dad? Like your pets, but even they break promises to you. You know, I taught you how to sit, and then when I wanted to show my friends that you could sit, you didn't sit. You know, everybody breaks promises to each other and to themselves. The only one who doesn't is Allah. And so when Allah has promised you something, who are you to question it? Who are you to doubt it? Who are you to be so special that everything goes for everybody else except you? I mean, personally, it's nice to feel unique, but I don't want to be that unique. Like that's another level. That's a pick me level. That let's not go there. That's not the one, sis. That ain't the one. So if you want to change your feelings of worth, I would say delve deeper into those two things first and foremost. Those are the two first things that I would do and have done in the past, of course, as well. So that is where I'd recommend that you start. If you're feeling like, oh, I don't know, I don't really feel worthy of getting the things that I'm asking for. I don't even feel like making the dua. Listen, the amount of you who don't even make the dua for the things. Yeah, you thought I wasn't going to mention you? I see you, sis. I see you. I see you. Yeah, no, that's you. You. I see you. Sitting there looking all cute and shit, but you still got to make that dua and ask Allah. I'm happy that you're praying for everybody else's success. I'm happy that you're praying for the bare necessities and all that good stuff. But you also got to pray for the things that you really want. Allah has injected you with the inspiration and the dreams that He wants you to try and attain in this dunya. That He wants you to go down a specific road. He has given you those dreams and those visions and those desires for a reason. And it's not just to be like, haha, you can't get it. It's because He wants you to have it. But in order for you to have it, you have to also believe that Allah is willing to give it to you, and you have to ask Him for it. And then you have to start taking the action towards it. Just because Allah has made it available to you doesn't mean He's going to serve it up on a silver platter for you, or a platinum platter. I don't know if that Allah's got even silver platters in heaven. I think that's kind of like maybe, I don't know. Silver is also good, I guess. I don't know. Who am I to be nitpicky? Dream big, girls. Platinum platters. So He's not going to serve it up on a platinum platter for you just because, He's infused you with this dream and this vision and this idea. You still have to ask Him for it, because there's worship in dua. It's an act of worship. And it's an act of reinstating and reaffirming your belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I made a video a long time ago, maybe I should make it again over on TikTok, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves audacious prayers. Allah loves it when we ask Him of something that is like so outrageous, like realistic. Like, don't ask Him for a unicorn that also poops glitter or something. Like, ask for real, like, be realistic. But Allah loves that. Do you know why? Because it reaffirms that you understand His limitlessness and His willingness to give you, to bless you, to reward you, to just make dunya great for you if you are a servant of His. So don't be scared of asking. Don't be scared of dreaming big. You don't have to tell everybody else. Don't tell the people who don't believe in you. Don't tell the people who can't see past your whether or not you're married or single. Share your dreams with Allah and Allah only. You don't have to give it to everybody else. And at any moment when you're thinking, who am I to ask any of the... I am Allah's servant. That's who I am. I am Allah's servant. And as Allah's servant, Allah has made me promises in this dunya. And if I deny Him those promises, and if I deny any of His tools because I believe I am the exception to the rules that He has created, then... girl, that's a conversation you're going to have with Allah one day, and I don't want to stand next to you having that conversation. But like, just think about that for a second. Like, do you want to have that conversation with Allah? No, I'm, Allah, I just want to tell you that, like, clearly I'm the exception to the rule, so I'm not going to practice this specific thing because I don't believe it extends to me. No, you don't want to have that conversation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala one day. You don't want to have that conversation. You want to say, thank you. You've given me a beautiful life. And in return, I have become a better and better servant to you throughout the years. And you have affirmed my faith in you by constantly being generous with me, which made me love you more. It's easy for you to love me and forgive me, but as a human, I need that affirming, that reassurance, that only you can give me through the way that you can come into my life and bless me and be generous and forgive me and show mercy and grace upon me. And so the more you did it, Ya Rab, the more I believed in you. And it was a beautiful life. Thank you. You know, that's the kind of conversation you're going to want to have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So when you meet Allah in prayer, even before you sit down in that prayer, you know, we assume now you've done the work of really sitting with them, the points where you're like, you're worthy simply because you are, because Allah has made you a Muslim. And that Allah has made certain promises to his servants. And Allah is the only one who doesn't break his promises. You will get what you're asking for because Allah has made that promise to you. Or I can't remember which hadith it is, but there's a hadith where the Prophet ﷺ said that it is like, I can't remember the exact wording, so please don't come for me for this, but it was to the tone of Allah answering your dua is like your right. Like it is, you can expect the answer. It's not that, oh, maybe, but you can expect it definitively. And I think that that's another reason, again, it's so beautiful because Allah has promised it. So Allah's not going to go back on his promises. So because Allah has made that promise, definitively you're going to get the answer and you're going to get the thing. So don't worry about it. Start asking, start making outrageous prayers, affirm your faith in Allah's limitlessness, in Allah's powers, in Allah's ability to create something from nothing, and ask for the outrageous. You don't need to know how it's going to come into your life. All you need to know is that you're asking the ultimate creator of the worlds. And how incredibly amazing is that? Not everybody has that. Remember that. Like, we are in such a privileged position. We have Islam. We have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Think about that. That is such a privilege. Think about the worth of that. The value in that. The value of the possibility of Jannah even. Subhanallah. And then, of course, I can't have an episode like this and not also go into like some other things, like real quick, which is, of course, if you're really struggling with your self-worth and value, then speak to a coach, speak to a therapist, start doing some professional work with somebody who might be able to really dig into where it's coming from for you and start unearthing it and working on getting through that. If you don't feel like it's that deep that you feel like you want to work with a coach one-on-one or a therapist one-on-one, then I do also have my online course, Belief Breakthrough, which can also do the same thing for you. But it is a course where you have to do the work on your own, but it can definitely help you. This is the kind of work that I've done for myself. With my beliefs and also my feelings of worthiness around certain things, and change the beliefs so that I no longer struggle with those beliefs in the same way that I used to in the past. So one of the things that I'll always say, though, and this is very important for all of us to remember, I actually just had this conversation a little bit earlier today with somebody else, is that just because you've done the work once doesn't mean, you know, you're cured, it's done, you never have to think about it again. It is an ongoing process. All of this is a journey. And so sometimes the thoughts and the feelings can come up and creep back up again from time to time, but they might not ring as true and as strong as they once did in the past, meaning you can go about your day a lot easier, and it'll be easier for you to aim bigger, wish and dream for more, ask Allah more audaciously in your prayers, and start actually living with some conviction, some confidence, you know, backing what it is that you truly want. Really intentionally going for the things that you really want instead of all the things that you think everybody else wants for you, or limiting yourself so that nobody thinks anything else of you or something wrong about you. Okay? So you can also go and find that. As I said, there's a link in the show notes and everywhere else where I can place a link. You know the drill with that. It is called Belief Breakthrough, and I believe it is £80. And then you have the course forever. So, yeah. So I, of course, just had to mention those things because, of course, sometimes things can go a little bit deeper, and sometimes we just need a little bit of help to know how to transform our thoughts and our beliefs and our feeling of worth. It's a mindset, it's a belief, it's something that's been sort of indoctrinated in us. So that means because we're not born with low self-esteem and low feelings of worth and value, it's something that's been placed within us over time. We can also remove it and exchange it and play with it, So there's hope. Don't worry. You are valuable. You are worthy. Allah wants to give you what you're asking for. Allah wants to give you more than what you're asking for, but sometimes you're just not asking for it. So Allah is just waiting for the moment that you sit down and have that conversation with Allah. And it doesn't have to be formal. It doesn't have to sound poetic. It doesn't have to be in Arabic. You can say You can laugh at yourself. You can cry. You can, stutter. You can do anything in that conversation with Allah. You can have that conversation as imperfectly as you want to. You can have it on the way to work. You can have it waiting for somebody, for your children to come out of daycare, whatever. You can have it at work during your lunch break, at school. It doesn't matter. Again, there are no requisites for when to make the dua. Of course, there's etiquette around dua. Don't make it when you're on the bog, but try maybe after salah and stuff like that as well, but it's not a necessity. Again, there are no requisites. He just says, call upon me and I will respond to you, and that is it. So remember that, and then start asking him, and then see how quickly Allah truly responds if you're asking with the correct intention and are willing to let Allah give it to you the way He knows it'll be the best for you. SubhanAllah, it really comes in so quickly. Allah doesn't diddle-daddle. Diddle-daddle? Is that the word, diddle-daddle? Dilly-dally. Dilly-dally. One of the two. Maybe it's a mixture of the two, but one of the two. Allah is on it, so don't worry. All right, my darling, I feel like I have waffled on long enough. Again, I have recorded this quite a bit later than I have recorded any of my other episodes. So I don't know if this was so annoying for you to hear, because I can hardly take myself seriously. I don't know why. It's just because I'm getting a little bit tired now. So I make myself laugh. I don't know if that's a curse or a blessing. It is what it is. But I hope still that you found the value in this episode, and you could take some things away from this episode that can help you elevate your life and your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inshallah, ameen. And please don't forget to reach out to me over on Instagram with your thoughts, questions, anything like that, at Manifesting Muslimah, and rate and review this podcast. Share it with your friends, family, online, all the good stuff. Spread the word. There may be other people who are just waiting to come across this specific podcast and my dilly-dallying, whatever it is. So yeah, don't gatekeep, sis. Like, that's not cool. That's totally uncool, right? What is it? No, something like that. Luan de Lesseps. That's all I can say. If you know, you know. If you don't, you're not missing out. What are you? You know what? I'm going to stop right now. Thank you so much for listening in to today's episode. I hope you appreciated it. And until next time, my darling friend, please don't forget to live in love.